Jilly tries to make the conversation, but oh my God. No. Can't believe I got freaking. And I was really feeling. And I'm really feeling my eyeshadow right now. I'll get there. I'll get there. Because this book, y'all, it had me in a chokehold. It had me in a chokehold. Hey y'all, it's Ashanti. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a makeup and book chat on the book Songs of Irie by Asha Bromfield. Asha Ashanti Bromfield. Here it is here. I absolutely love this book. I gave it 5 stars, y'all. Yes, 5 stars. I will be purchasing this book just so I can have a physical copy because I need it on my shelf. I need it in my possession. It was so great. It was so amazing. And the way she read this book, y'all, like the author read the story, and it was so enjoyable. Like you could tell and see her passion, or not see, you could tell and hear her passion. She sang in the book. Like, she has an amazing voice because the main character in the book does sing as well. And when I say she sang, y'all, she actually gave some music in there too. I was like, yes ma'am. Yes ma'am. Because that's like the only audiobook that I've read that has done something like that, and I appreciate it so much. But a little bit about it before we get into the makeup and book chat. Songs of Irie is a tragic love story about Irie and Jilly and the social, political, and societal barriers that comes with trying to be together. And they have 2 completely different ideologies, and those are kind of clashing with one another. And because of some of the things that happen in the story, it kind of fuels what one side feels about the other. Ignore the fact that my face, like my eyeshadow, does not match what I'm wearing at all. I put this on today and I was like, you know what? Y'all have seen me do so many neutral looks. I need to do some color. I need to throw some color in here. So I did this and I really liked it. So I know it don't match, y'all. I know it don't match. But just ignore that because this is about Songs of Irie. So let's get into it. So the 2 young ladies, as you saw on the cover of the book, it shows 2 women basically coming into an embrace, like they're going to kiss. So the dark skinned one, her name is Irie. Irie is the main character. It's basically centered around her because she is on the poorer side of the economic status in Jamaica. It is set in Jamaica in the 1970s, specifically 1976 in the summer. The other girl on the cover is Jillian, or Jilly. She is the secondary main character, and she is on the wealthier side of the economic status in Jamaica. So what's currently going on in the book is they are at war. And what I mean by at war, this book is very political, so I'm going to try to make it as like neutral as possible. So like I said, Irie, the main character, is on the lower side of the economic status in Jamaica. So what that means in regard to the war, most of the people who are poor lean towards the PLM. Yeah, the PLM. And the PLM is a group, is a political group that is trying to push communism because they want wealth to be spread. They think that capitalism, which is the PGC's main goal, which is to keep and continue capitalism, is not doing Jamaica any good. So Irie is on the PLM side, and then Jilly, her parents, her father specifically, is like within the political office or something, I think. I don't remember specifically, but he's in the political office or something like that in regard to the PGC, which is the group that mostly wants capitalism and wants to work with like the USA and things. But PLM wants to be completely separate and wants Jamaica to be its own thing. Now that y'all kind of understand the setting, that's the war that's going on. So the PLM is way more hands-on. I don't want to say think of them as a gang, but it's some of the scenes in that book that just make you feel like, you know, this is not okay what they're doing. But it's also not okay what the PGC is doing either. But I'll get there. I'll get there. Because this book, y'all, it had me in a chokehold. It had me in a chokehold. Now, the book starts off with Irie and Jilly. It's last day of school, and Jilly is supposed to be going off to college in Europe, and Irie doesn't know what she's going to do. She's too poor to have any options to go like outside of Jamaica. So she really doesn't have, like I said, any options. Irie is a singer. She has a beautiful voice, you know, that's a part of her. And music is also a really big part of this story, because I don't know if this is true. I'm assuming it is, but music is also political in Jamaica, which it somewhat is here in the US, but since the music in Jamaica is also tied to their religion of pop. I don't know how to, I don't want to get the history wrong, you guys. But since the music is tied to their religion of like the Rastafari kind of thing, I know they said like Jah or whoever their God is, and Rastafari is just love and peace and love to everybody and everywhere in the world. That's tied to the reggae music, and in the story, that is in complete opposition to the PGC, which is the people that want to work with America and that want to, you know, keep capitalism. But anyway, I got off topic. I was speaking about how Irie is really big into music. She's a great singer, and she wants to, you know, be a singer, but that's just not an option for her. Everything feels like it's so out of reach because where she is financially, with her family, and just within everything that's going on in Jamaica at the time. And Jilly is kind of that support system, like, oh my gosh, if you just, you know, go out there, you can make it, you can do it. It's, you know, I'll be here, I'm your manager, you're awesome, you're great. And they do like this singing battle, and of course Irie wins. And after that, they basically show that the two of them are in love with each other. Just because some of the ways that they were describing their feelings when they were like during that first interaction, but they don't give a backstory as to how that kind of came about. I mean, they kind of talk about how they're always there for each other. They've been best friends since whatever, but they don't really show where the love kind of came from. They don't show those past moments. It's just kind of like once you're reading it, you know that, okay, they both got something going on. You know what I'm saying? And in Jamaica in the 1970s, lesbianism, being gay, completely illegal. So I think they were kind of like, you know, hiding their feelings. But moving forward, after she does the singing battle or rap battle and she wins, Jilly gives her friendship bracelets, and they like, oh, I love you, and then they part and go their separate ways. And then this is where you really understand I'm not even doing my makeup. And this is where you begin to understand where they are in their lives. So I'm going to start with Irie. But let me get to my makeup. Okay, starting out with Irie. Irie goes home to her father. She has two sisters, Tandy, Sierra, and she also has a brother. Tandy, I believe it's Tandy, is more so on the PLM side as well as Irie. Sierra is more so in the middle. She really just wants peace and she doesn't care for the war. She's like completely against it. And her brother works for the police, which is on the side of the PGC. So her family is kind of split. There isn't like one, you know, set, you know, thinking process within the family. And her father owns a record store. The record store, Ricky's Records. And her father is known throughout Jamaica. her father has a young boy named Junior working at his record store, and he's working there because her father kind of took him in and kind of trying to get him on the right path. And this young boy is absolutely in love with Irie. But of course, since he's so little, it's just like, you know, a cute crush. She entertains him just because, you know, she doesn't want to, you know, hurt his pride. But yeah, he's basically in love with Irie. And when she goes back from the first day of school, you know, they have general conversations and different things like that. I don't know exactly when this happens. I don't know if it was that very first day. Junior has to go do something, and he comes back, and he's supposed to come back, but then you hear a bunch of gunshots outside, and you know her father tells everybody there to get down. They get down, and then her father gets up to go outside, and then they find little boy Junior gone. And that's how she set up the severity of the war going on in Jamaica at the time. Because not only did Junior pass, other people passed. These are people who are complete bystanders. Like, they have nothing to do with the actual wars or different things like that. It's just senseless killing. And I feel like even though that hurt me in the book, I understand why she put that there, because there's no better way than to show that a senseless war is going on when people are fine with kids being fatalities. Children. He was 10. And even though he has such a small part in the book, he was very impactful because she showed the fact that he had dreams and aspirations. Yeah, I'm just not. You get the point, y'all. You get the point. So the killing of Junior is what sets off the book. Like I said, Irie is a singer. She writes music, and his death inspired her to write a song. And from her writing that song, an old friend that used to work at the record store finds her. And, you know, they end up talking, and he asks her to sing for him. He loves it. He had a connect at a dance hall place and said, you can come perform. And that's where, you know, that's where it kicked off. She can come perform at the dance hall. Now, the dance hall is the biggest dance hall in Jamaica. Now, Jilly. Like I said, Jilly is on the opposite side. She's not in poverty. She comes from very wealthy parents. They take care of her. They have very, very high expectations of her. Ones that she really don't want to go for, but it's kind of like you have to do what you have to do for your family. At least that's the kind of mindset that I feel like she was in. Except when it came to Irie, I feel like had some of the things that happened in the book had not happened, Jilly would have went all in for Irie. Like, I feel like she would have been down. She would have been down. We get to Jilly, and Jilly, like I said, she's come from a wealthy family. We're at her estate, and you kind of get, like I said, the idea you do what you have to do for your family. They have really high expectations of her, and she's supposed to go to college in Europe after graduation once the fall starts, because like I said, right now it's the summer. And she gets her letter back from Cambridge, and she did not get in. She also did not get into the other 3 schools she applied to. And she would have been the only person in her family that did not get accepted into any colleges. Like, she only applied to these 4 schools. She got rejected from all 4 of them. But the one that she received that we saw in the book was Cambridge. She told her parents, oh yeah, I got in. But when she finally got the letter, she saw she didn't get in. So she didn't get in nowhere. So she's just keeping up this lie as if she got into Cambridge. And you know, they really don't know. I don't really think they care to look deeper into it because they too worried about other stuff. She has to go to some private dinner or something hosted by a family. I don't remember that family's name, but you know, she's used to going to these kind of things, so you know, she just goes to do what her parents told her to do. Like, nothing special. She, like I said, she's doing what her parents told her to do. And when she gets to the dinner, the family is asking her like a bunch of different things, and how she thinks is different from, you know, how they think. Like I said, Jilly was more so on the cups of not really being PGC, but since it's her family, she's like, you know, you do what you got to do. So they start asking her these questions, and she believes opposite. And at the end of the dinner, they're like, we think she would be amazing for our son. So essentially, her parents, I don't want to say sold her, but arranged her marriage for her to this guy that she's never met, not really even attracted to. Like, that's just it for her. And once they leave the dinner, she confronts her parents about it, and they like, basically, shut up, do what you told. They basically arranged her marriage to this guy, and she doesn't like it. She doesn't like him. She thinks he's pompous and all this other stuff. But he really likes her because he wants a woman that will challenge him and, you know, speak her mind. And she's definitely like that kind of woman. I don't think he is a bad guy simply because he likes her for who she is. He doesn't just want a trophy, and he wasn't really trying to change her. The only problem is she in love with Irie. I don't know where I left off because my camera went off. I hate when that happens. But like I said, I don't know where I left off, but basically what's going on is Irie needs Jilly so she can go to her dance hall performance. They eventually reach out to each other or get in contact with one another, and Jilly's like, oh my gosh, we can go. I can help you sneak out. You can stay at my place and X, Y, and Z. So they set up this plan for Jilly to attend Jilly's mother's birthday dinner, which will have a bunch of PGC politicians there. However, Irie does not know that the PGC politicians will be there. Irie makes it to Jilly's house, and she is amazed by, you know, how nice it is. Because although she knew she had money, it was like, dang, I didn't know you had that much money. All this stuff is irrelevant. Let's get to the actual party. Oh, before we get to the party, Jilly suggests that Irie not tell them that her father owns the record store. Because, like I said, you know, what her father represents is, I guess, not that great because he sells reggae music, which is what they consider the devil's music. Stupid stuff. So she's like, yeah, probably don't mention that after dinner. And Irie did not know that the PGC executives would be there. So they're at the dinner. Things are okay, I guess. And then they get into conversation. Mind you, the guy that Jilly is supposed to be engaged to is there. Him and his family is there. So they're having discussions, and then they start asking Irie about her political affiliations. And I don't remember exactly what she says. Things happen, and they end up, Jilly ends up mentioning the record store, like, oh, her father owns a really nice record store. He's really respected in his community, which he is. They ask, oh, well, what record store? And then, she ends up having to tell them which one it is. And they're like, oh, the place that sells, oh, that devil's music and da-da-da, whatever. So that kind of sets a lot of things off. And like I said, Jilly thought she was trying to, Jilly really felt she was, making things better. And like I said in the beginning, Jilly is the kind of person that she was just giving it to her parents. She didn't want to upset them and all that other stuff. But I think that's normal with a lot of children or teenagers or young adults when they are like before they come into their own. She's just like, okay, I just gotta please them, and then, you know, they'll love me, they'll treat me better, different things like that. So that's pretty normal. So how she handled it after the dinner, Irie did not like how she handled it, because she felt like, you know, she really didn't defend her, which I feel like you have to be able to look outside of yourself to kind of see the other person's feelings. And I think both of them were kind of stuck in their own feelings. But, you know, eventually they got out of that, because that same night is when they were supposed to go to the dance hall. So after the dinner, and like I said, Irie, you know, talked about her political affiliations, how she feels about things. Jillian's mother was pissed. Jilly's mother was pissed. And, you know, she was like, why did you bring that girl here? She's not the kind of person supposed to hang around. Y'all go to bed tonight, and she needs to be gone in the morning. And, you know, Jilly was basically just like, okay. Then after she talked to her mother, she ended up talking to Chris. I think that's his name, the guy that she's supposed to marry. And he comes to her like, I know you didn't get into Cambridge. I could get my father to get you into Cambridge. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then she basically ends up just telling him, yeah, I didn't get in. And he gives her this really nice, I don't remember if it was a bracelet or a ring, but he gives her something like super, super expensive. They end up leaving, going to the dance hall, and it was amazing. Irie did a really good job, but the guy that got her the thing at the dance hall, Ace, they danced together, and Jilly was jealous of that, because she's like, I want to dance with her. I mean, she didn't act like that, but in describing her feelings, it's just like, dang, like, you know, like I said, they in love with each other. So of course you'll be jealous of the person that you're in love with dancing with somebody else. They leave the dance hall on a high. Oh, and the biggest dance hall producer or whatever he is, I don't remember specifically, speaks to Irie and is like, yo, you were amazing, you were great. Come to my studio so we can record your song. So that's why they left on high. Not only did she do really well in her performance, she got a studio session with, you know, the biggest DJ. I don't know. I think it's DJ Thundercat. I don't remember specifically. But yeah, she got that. So they left on a high. And then they end up stopping at a park and basically expressing their feelings to one another. Jilly told her, you know, I was jealous that you were dancing with Ace. And they express how they feel about one another, and then they end up engaging in sexual activities. Now, in the middle of them engaging in those activities, they hear, you know, some stuff going on, and, you know, they stop, and then they realize there's someone coming, and then they try to leave. And, you know, Irie is used to that kind of thing. She's been riding bikes, but Jilly is not used to that, and they were riding bikes. So Irie was like, come on 3, we gonna ride past all of them. And Jilly is like, no. And Irie really was not paying attention, I think, because she's always been in these kind of situations. She was like 1, 2, 3, and then, you know, she left. But Jilly was still left behind. And the guys that were there were PLM. And apparently you're not supposed to wear purple in whatever territory that is. And Jilly did not know that, and Irie did not tell her. But that's because Irie did not even think about it. And in that scenario, they had M16s, I think those were the guns she named, pointed at her face. Jilly's face. And then, you know, Irie came back and was like, no, she doesn't know, she doesn't know, she doesn't know. And they asked her what her political affiliation was, and Irie's like, she's PLM, she's PLM. And then they tell her to take off her shirt and get on the ground, and they kick dirt, you know, in her face. And you know, the whole time Jilly is thinking she is about to die. She thinks it's over for her. But you know, they eventually leave, and Irie and Jilly get into this argument because, you know, Jilly feels away because she's like, you left me. I told you I was not comfortable. Had we just stayed and answered their questions regularly, none of this would have happened. Blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, the argument continues. Irie feels attacked because she's like, you're crying, but I deal with this on a regular. You got away scot-free. And I feel like that's really insensitive because you know the kind of life she lives. So her being ignorant to stuff is not her fault. She's always been there for you. She's never judged you. She's never really done anything negative to her. So I really was disappointed in Irie at that point in time. I understood where both of them were coming from, but I feel like Irie should have been more sensitive to Jillian's feelings. Even though that's one of the things that she was talking about when that scene came up, was like, you know, girls like Jilly, you know, people always care about her tears, but nobody ever cares about, you know, hers. But why would you think about somebody that you love or care about in that sense? Because this is somebody that you claim you love. So resenting her for the kind of life she lived, I feel like it's so completely wrong. And I also feel like Jilly was wrong because, you know, like Irie said, I didn't think about the fact that you were wearing purple. You know, I didn't think about that. And I feel like they were mad at each other. I don't want to say for no reason, because you feel how you feel. But I feel like once you are upset and then you sit there and you think about it, you not only contemplate, you know, what someone else did and their actions, you got to think about it on the other person's end. And I feel like neither one of them, you know, did that. So they got back to Jilly's house, and, you know, they kept arguing, and eventually, you know, they were like, I'm done arguing, whatever. And they were going to go sleep. But then Jilly was like, you know what? It's time for you to go. And they didn't talk for a really long time. Eventually, some things happened. I don't remember specifically, but some things happened. And Irie's dad, as well as her sister, is kidnapped. And Irie goes on this mission to get her sister back. But her dad is at this camp that the PGC puts, you know, outlaws in or something. I don't remember. And she's like, well, I know I can't get him back, but I'm going to get my sister back. So she goes to Jillian to help her get her sister back. And Jillian was like, that's the night of the election. I'm not going. I got to be there for my dad. She really wasn't saying I got to be there for my dad, but it's basically like I said, she got responsibilities. They expect her to be there. She not going to be there. And then she was like, you have some nerve because we haven't talked, you haven't apologized, you haven't nothing. They basically still like upset at each other. And then Irie was like, I don't understand why you mad at me. She didn't say I don't understand why you mad at me. But basically Irie was like, we in love with each other, we should be together. And Jilly was like, you know we can't be together. Us being together, it's illegal, all this other stuff. So they end that conversation, and Irie's like, well, I just got to do this by myself. She goes to wherever the place is to go get her sister. She finds her sister. A bunch of stuff happened, y'all. Jilly ends up deciding to go get, or to go help Irie. She makes it to the place where her sister is being held, and it blows up. It was bombed. And Jilly dies. And I was not expecting that. I was really hoping that they would be together. I was rooting for them. And especially when she was changing her mind to go help her. And what's so crazy is her driver told her not to go. Not to go. You shouldn't go. And she died. And for, I believe, 16 years, Irie felt guilty about that because literally Jillian was only coming to help her. And had she not decided to go help her, Jilly would have still been alive. She would have still been alive, y'all. And I understand that kind of guilt, that kind of feeling. But Irie ends up becoming a really big radio host, which love that for her. And yeah, that's basically how the story ends. Irie becomes everything that Jilly told her she could become. A big artist, a big radio host. And that's it. Alright, y'all, so that is the end of the video. I hope y'all really enjoyed it, because I really enjoyed reading it. I really enjoyed talking about it. I tried to shorten every single detail of the book because I know my last one was really long and I probably gave too many. I told the whole book, so I'm trying to do something a little different to where I'm not telling the entire book. So I really just gave mostly the high points, and then y'all can go back and get the details if y'all want to go ahead and read the details. But I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'll be back with another makeup and book chat soon, but I'm really enjoying doing this, so I'm hoping y'all really enjoying watching them. So I'll see y'all on my next one. Bye.